Thank you very much for joining us on the interview segment. I am your host, Marianne Mbogo Waisha. Now, our guest today is Mrs. Gladys Mugambi. She is the Deputy Head of the Nutrition Division in the Ministry of Public Health and Sanitation. She'll be talking to us about food fortification. I know that might sound a bit strange, but food fortification that you have seen is actually as a result of a government initiative. I'm sure you've noticed that the maize flour that's in the market right now, a lot of the packets say fortified, and that's what she'll be talking to us about today. So Gladys, you're very, very welcome to our studios.
Thank you, Marianne.
Yeah, and like I've just mentioned, I'm sure we've noticed that when we are buying our ugali flour for the last few weeks or so, most of the packets say fortified.
Yes.
So what are we talking about when we say that these foods are fortified?
Okay, fortification is the addition of vitamins and minerals to food when they're being manufactured. And in Kenya, we have foods which have those minerals and vitamins added to them. And that's what you're seeing in the market now. So we are adding vitamins and minerals because we've discovered we require them in those foods, especially after manufacturing. We lose them, and therefore we are returning what we lose and also making it even better.
Making it better. And so when we see fortification, firstly, I'd wonder what has been added. We have seen the public awareness, part of the public awareness campaign is the adverts that you have in the media. And we've seen zinc, we've seen many of these micronutrients that we don't hear so much about. So what exactly has been added to the flour and hence the ugali that we are eating?
Okay, there are many foods that we are fortifying and we'll talk about them. But the nutrients that are added to food are like vitamin A, zinc, iron, folic acid, the B vitamins. There is a range of B vitamins, B12, B6. We are adding them.
You're adding all of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
But so to different foods.
Or to different foods.
Yeah.
That's another thing that would be of interest, I think.
Yeah.
So we're adding all those micronutrients. How did you decide? Because there are very many minerals. So how did you decide that we are going to add these ones? We're going to add the zinc, we're going to add the iron, that list that you've given me. How did you narrow down and come up with those and decide we are running with these ones?
Okay, research has been carried out, not only in Kenya, but in different parts of the world. And there are nutrients that have been found to be always scarce in our diets, especially if we are not eating balanced diets. So the process was through research, which was done in mostly the developed countries. And then when we came to Kenya, or African countries, in the region, we had surveys carried out. In Kenya, we did it in 1999, a micronutrient survey, where we were drawing blood from
the general
public. And testing to see whether they have adequate amounts of those nutrients. That survey has been repeated last year, and currently we are doing analysis, and we shall be creating awareness on how things are in the coming year. So it's through research.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. And so from what you found in the research that you've done, the 299 and last year, you found a pattern of these specific nutrients missing, or have there been differences in what you found?
We've not analyzed the one for the last year. We are currently doing analysis. So we'll be able to share that later and compare to see how things are. Yeah, but we are still focusing on what we found in 1999, knowing that we have not done much. We've been going through the process of having programs that can address those deficiencies. Then we felt it's something we can continue, and fortification was one of them, and we had never done anything. Yeah.
Okay. So you found, you have found, what I have seen personally is the maize flour.
Yes.
So which foods are you fortifying besides this one that I've seen? And why did you pick on maize flour? Why did you pick on whichever other?
Okay. In fortification in Kenya actually started in the 70s.
Okay.
One mineral I didn't talk about, maybe because we've heard about it for a long time, is iodine.
Yes, yes.
Iodine that helps the thyroid gland to function properly. So we started adding it to salt.
Yes.
And it was made mandatory. So all our salt is iodized.
In fact, I've remembered we've always seen iodized.
Yes.
We were told to buy iodized salt. Even
yes.
when I was growing up, that's what we were told.
Yeah. So that was the first food that we fortified in Kenya. And we were addressing the problem of goiter, where you get a swelling on the neck because of lack of iodine. So that goiter has been reduced from 21% to 6%
So it
in the
works.
latest survey.
Yeah.
It works. So we now move to other foods, such as maize, oil, and sugar. So what we've done is we are now bringing together those stakeholders from those manufacturing institutions, and we've developed standards together, and now we have made fortification of flour mandatory. Maybe that's why you're seeing more of it now. Yeah.
Okay.
So flour and oil, it's now mandatory. Our industries must fortify.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh. And why did you pick on flour, sugar, and oil?
Okay.
Why these specific products?
Yeah. Again, through research, a food consumption survey that was done, we picked foods which are mostly consumed, which you find in every household.
I see. Okay.
Salt is one of them, sugar, oil, and flour. Now, for flour, it's because during processing, they remove the nutrients from the bran and the germ, which you see as feeding to our animals, so that that flour can stay longer on the shelf. Actually, it's contributing to food security, to ensure that we have food that we can continue feeding on. So we are now telling them to return those nutrients because they are necessary, so that we can try and control diseases that are non-communicable that you're seeing now, obesity, which leads to many other problems. So that is the reason for flour. That's why we're saying they need to fortify, but we've decided also to add other nutrients which are not usually there. Yeah.
All right. All right. And it's very interesting for me that you're saying this is a process that began in 1999 and before, and even in the 70s. Now that we are seeing it being done it being done very loudly, we are seeing a lot of media work. So I'd like to know what has been the journey, because I would imagine what we are seeing on the shelf is the end product of a lot of work that you as a ministry and other bodies have done. What has been the journey you've taken? Okay.
If I can talk about the 70s, about salt iodization, through the support of our partners like UNICEF, we had to support industry, the salt industries, which are mostly at the coast. We brought them together, had a discussion with them, and explained to them why they need to fortify. After that, there was support, technical support, so that they're able to do it the right way. And they did it. And we started monitoring to see whether they are doing it right. And wherever we found a problem, we sorted it out. Then in the around 2005, no, earlier, 2002, some flour industries started fortifying on voluntary basis.
So
they were
then
not
it
pushed.
wasn't mandatory.
It wasn't mandatory. But we realized they're just doing it, others are not taking it up. We decided again to form partnership with the industries. We formed what we call an alliance, Food Fortification Alliance, at the national level. So we have the manufacturers of those foods that we had identified as being mainly consumed. And that is after a study that was carried out through the support of Kenyatta University and UNICEF to look at how we consume these foods. We then, after forming the alliance, we launched it in 2006. And then the next step was, how will people know that we're fortified? We developed a food fortification logo,
Yes,
which
yes.
you'll be seeing in the adverts,
Yes.
because that's what now we're using,
Yeah.
because we can't just advertise one company. We advertise the logo, then let the people look for it. So we developed the logo, and then we started looking for resources. It's a bit expensive, especially to start. We've brought together partners like UNICEF.
Yeah.
There is a Micronutrient Initiative and the Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition.
All right.
So the latest support we've got is from GAIN,
Yeah.
that you're seeing a lot of communication.
Yeah.
And before we started looking for resources, we also had to develop standards with Kenya Bureau of Standards.
Yeah.
So we worked on the standards together for all those foods. That is sugar, salt was there before, oil,
and
wheat, and maize.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So wheat is also included.
Wheat is also included when you talk of flour.
Yeah.
After doing the standards and now getting support from all those partners I'm talking about, we came together. We kept having meetings as the alliance, and we received this support from GAIN, where we are able to train staff from industry, create awareness to them, tell them the importance of fortification.
Yeah.
And when they went back, we had a team visiting the industries.
Okay.
And when they visit, they give technical support. We looked at what is required through an assessment, and we had different requirements for each industry.
Yeah.
And we now had to use the resources we had to give the technical support. Mainly, the government, through the support of GAIN, we have tried to help industry to equip them with the right equipment. They're called microdosers that help in adding the nutrients to the flour and also the mixing of oil. And that's where we are.
That's where you are now.
After doing that, some industries started. They took their samples to Kenya Bureau of Standards. They were able to be certified, and we did a launch, in September.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, that's when we started seeing them.
That's when we started to see you.
Yes,
Very
so that's the
loud.
journey,
Yeah.
but it's not over. We are
It's not
still
over.
working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you had to have some laws of the land amended.
Yes.
Yeah. What did you have to change? What did you have to create?
Okay, we have the Food, Drugs and Chemical Substance Act.
Yeah.
That act has regulations. So under the regulations, we had a section which talked about addition of iron to flour.
Yeah.
So what we did, we amended and brought in what was in the standard
Yeah.
that we developed together with KEBS,
Yeah.
so that now they follow that.
Yeah.
And then it was gazetted by the Minister for Public Health,
Yeah.
Honorable Beth Mugo.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
that's
nice.
what we did. Yeah.
And just before we take a break, one of the concerns that I've heard from a lot of the public is that there are certain nutrients that are heat sensitive, others are water soluble, and apart from the sugar, which I guess would not be affected so much by, say, the tea or whatever it would be used in, the ugali and the oil both undergo a lot of heat in cooking. So are we still going to have them included in these foods, and then we lose them again when we cook them because we can't eat,
Yeah.
raw flour?
I understand.
Yeah.
We have these minerals and vitamins that are added to foods. They are manufactured in such a way that they are protected, because we know the cost of putting them there.
Yeah.
We can't just allow them to be lost. So there is a way they are manufactured. So when you add them, you'll only be able to absorb them when you the losses are minimal, but you'll still get the nutrients intact.
And like we know there are people who cook the ugali till it's, if they hit you with it, you will be injured.
Yeah.
Cook it for like an hour.
Yes.
Would that kind of cooking destroy it so that...
No, what we have added actually to the flour, for example, there are minerals.
Yeah.
That is the iron, zinc, folic acid.
Yeah.
Folic acid is a vitamin under the B group. And the B vitamins are water soluble.
Yeah.
So our worry should actually be
Water.
how much water we lose when you're cooking, the evaporation. So in ugali we don't lose anything. The vitamin we would worry about is vitamin A. And that's the one I've said it's manufactured in a way that you not lose it.
You don't lose it at all.
Due to heat.
Due to heat.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Let's take a very short break. We'll be taking a very short break, but do join us in just a few minutes.